Hi, everybody. I'm Cullen.
And I'm Sarah.
Yeah, and we're recapping round one of our Book Madness tournament that you've hopefully been voting in diligently every night on Facebook. Um, we are having books face off against one another. It's really a big popularity contest. And I guess, well, give you some background on how this got started, why we're doing this. It's really because Sarah's such a big college basketball fan, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's yeah. It's always Duke this and Dick Vitale that, and
I know.
to
I
do
know.
it. Do you know the words that I'm saying? Do you know?
I hear the words you're saying,
Okay, okay,
but they really mean nothing to me.
okay. That sounds about right. But yeah, no, it's we did it. I actually thought about doing this a few years ago and actually pitched it in the office to some people. This is probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. And I was like, yeah, what if we just had a big board, like a bracket for March Madness, but it's books instead, and we have people vote on books. And it really got crickets in response. Like nobody was into it. And then I was so ashamed that I didn't bring it up for 6 years. And then Sarah and I were talking about it, and we're like, yeah, why not? That could be fun. And then after all this craziness happened and the libraries closed and people were at home, we thought there wasn't really any better time to make books fight to the death for our amusement. And so that's what we're doing. And they are fighting to the death, by the way. Like when one loses, we're removing all copies of it. Like there won't be any more. I should have mentioned that beforehand. You guys didn't know the gravity of the choices you were making. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of all the losers, and we're gonna salt the earth so that they can never grow again. I think that's how books are made.
We're hardcore like that.
We are, we are. So if you got copies of the losers, we're gonna come get them real soon as it's safe to do so. So what we're doing here, well, this is just a little recap of what's happened so far. So we started in Ye Old Classics, our classics bracket, where we took some of the most highly regarded and popular and beloved, cherished books of all time and made them fight. And so here's what happened in that bracket. So we had To Kill a Mockingbird, taking it down over 100 Years of Solitude, and then Fahrenheit 451 over My Precious, My Beloved Catcher in the Rye. And then Little Women and Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind, upsetting The Great Gatsby. And then I think this might have been the one that had like the most people voting ever. We had The Hobbit, beating Anne of Green Gables, and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, a 14 seed. Just really kind of thumping 1984. We can talk about that later if we want. And then our final set of matchups, the nameless book there that you can tell Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice beating Uncle Tom's Cabin. So 2 and 7, not a whole lot of upsets in this bracket, but here's how it looks now heading into round 2.
Yeah. So, were there any close pairs that were just fighting to the end?
Yeah,
Or
fighting to the
tied
end,
up?
to the death. Yeah,
Yes, to the death.
it looks like, let me look back at my notes here as if I've prepared for this at all. Uh, so, yeah, Fahrenheit 451 and Catcher in the Rye, I think we're pretty close. And then Gone with the Wind and Gatsby were also, that was another fairly close one.
I was surprised about the Gatsby being taken over by Gone with the Wind, just because when the movie came out in what, like 2012, 13,
Oh, the
whenever
new
that
Gatsby movie, like the Leo
yeah,
movie.
the new Gatsby movie came
Yeah,
out. It seemed like the whole world went crazy for that 20s look and vibe. You saw it everywhere, and
yeah, I know. I
weddings
certainly
and
changed the way I dress when that happened.
yeah. Brought out all like the flappers out of nowhere.
Yeah, everybody was calling each other Old Sport.
Yeah, yeah. So I was
But
kind of surprised about that, but Gone with the Wind is a class. You know, it's
it is. It is. I'm gonna come clean and admit I have not read Gone with the Wind.
I haven't either.
No, I think it's long. Isn't it long?
It's really long, and I find Civil War pretty sad. You know,
It's
Civil
yeah.
War novels kind of can really take it out of you.
That's yeah. It's totally fair, and that's a good excuse not to read it. That and I'll just stick with it's long. That's a reason I'll cling to. So I haven't read a classic. I was like, oh, it's just too long.
It's just
Um,
Civil War
yeah,
and
I guess
long.
enough of y'all, regard it highly enough, and maybe I'll read it. I like Gadsby. I don't love it, but I recognize that it's quality, classic piece of literature. So I'm not crying for it too much. I like
Yeah,
to see if Mice and Men go, but Little Women is also great, and that's one that I just read recently after the new movie came out.
yeah.
You saw that movie, right?
I did. I did. I loved it, and um, I thought it was kind of interesting that both of those have such strong female characters, and you know, of Mice and Men is almost entirely men,
Well, it's right there
except
in the
for
title.
yeah.
There's no
I
mention of
mean,
women. Oh,
there's like one
mice get billing
female,
over women.
and then some rabbits.
Yeah, yeah, some
So
rabbits. Oh, it's sad.
yeah,
But yeah, no, not upset about that at all. Over in the other side of the bracket, we had The Hobbit, which let me see. I think that was maybe not all that close. It really wasn't. Like it started off that way, and then Hobbit really pulled away from Anne of Green Gables, and then Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, same deal. Like it kind of stomped 1984, and we had 1984 as a 3 seed, which maybe that's the fault of the seeding and the selection committee.
yeah, that committee, man.
Yeah, well, that stupid committee. What were they thinking? Uh, it's just, it's hard to gauge stuff like that, especially in the classics region where like all the books are. It's all like you know titans of literature. It's like
Right,
one over another necessarily.
right.
Uh,
Well, and the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, it has a nostalgic pull for people too, because
for sure, for sure.
it's not just an adult. You know, like some of these are, you read them as late teenager, a young adult. But The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Anne of Green Gables are both for younger audiences. So if you have that nostalgic feeling about those books, then you're definitely gonna vote for those.
Oh yeah, nostalgia is
Strong,
is strong. It's super.
strong like bull.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we might see that carry it through. Though now it's facing off against the Hobbit, and
That's gonna be wicked.
that's gonna be a week. Are you doing like a Boston thing?
No, no, it's
Okay.
gonna be hardcore. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
people are so passionate
I
about
know.
those books and those authors being friends, and I mean, it's
Yeah,
gonna
the initial bros.
yeah, we're pitting them against each other to the
We
death.
are. It's really kind of cruel, but yeah, that's kind of two beloved childhood books fighting, and we didn't include a lot of children's books in this, but we included some of the big ones. And full disclosure, like Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe was almost kind of an afterthought in the proceedings. Like I think I had some other books in here, and then I came across that one. Like came across it like I'd never heard of it, but I was like, no, that one should really be in there. And I guess part of it coming in later is part of the reason why it's a lower seed. But I, honestly thought 1984 would, you know, take care of business against it. And I know 1984 is not a fun read. You don't have the same warm feelings about reading 1984 as you did Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. So maybe that's some of it. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with the Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe to a lesser extent. And then our last set of matchups, Jane Eyre pretty comfortably beat Frankenstein, and then Pride and Prejudice totally just dusted Uncle Tom's Cabin. I think Pride and Prejudice got all the votes, which I think is the only time that's happened.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a no-brainer for me because Uncle Tom's Cabin is pretty depressing.
Right. Yeah. And see, that's part of it because you can vote, you can pick something for any reason here. Like it's pretty much a popularity contest. I think we put in the initial rules like you can vote for using whatever criteria you want, like perceived quality, how much you personally like it. So really any reason. So yeah, I feel like maybe some of these books that are undoubtedly great books might get dinged in a setup like this just because they deal with heavy stuff that was maybe hard or difficult to get through. And yeah, so I feel like lighter stuff might have a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, and I think because a lot of these books were assigned as, you know, uh, required reading in high school,
Yeah, that's
that there were, there were a couple that, as, young people we can't relate to or we don't see the value in. And then if you read them later as an adult, then you really see the reason why you had to read them in high school and stuff. So I felt
totally
that way about 1984. There was no way I was going to vote for 1984 if,
just on principle.
yeah, blame it on 10th grade.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a great point. Yeah, I read 1984 I think as a junior, and we had to keep like this really detailed, like as we were reading it, like chapter by chapter, we had to keep like a quote log and then like analyze that quote in like extreme detail. And so nothing sucks the fun out of reading a book more than just like having to stop or like have in the back of your mind like stuff that you have to look for and then
Right,
here. Like I understand that's kind of how you have to do English class too.
right. But
But
it kind of killed it for you.
yeah, well, despite that, no, I still really liked it and enjoyed
Good.
the experience of reading it. And so, but
I guess I need to go back and give it another shot.
yeah, and you're also right on about the point in your life when you read something and how that affects your where like it's standing in like your rankings and your esteem because some of this stuff you read in high school and you feel one way about it and then maybe you pick it up 5, 10 or more years down the line and then you feel totally differently. Like I know stuff that I didn't like um, or didn't even attempt because I just didn't think I would like it and then I read it later as an adult and you know kind of wish that I read it earlier, but if I read it earlier I probably wouldn't have liked it as much. It all
Yeah, your filter wasn't ready.
Yeah, it just depends where you're catching it and what
Yeah.
point you are in your life and what's going on. So these are our matchups for round two. To Kill a Mockingbird versus Fahrenheit 451, Little Women versus Gone with the Wind, Pride and Prejudice versus Jane Eyre, and The Hobbit versus The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, any predictions on those?
Yeah,
Round
yeah.
two?
So I don't know. I'll be careful. I don't want to like sway anybody, and that just makes the huge assumption and leap that anybody's actually watching us talk about this and would impact their voting in any way. But I won't break it down. Well, okay, I'll just do quick gut calls on here. I'll say To Kill a Mockingbird, Little Women. I'm gonna say The Hobbit's gonna pull it out, and then Pride and Prejudice. So I just went straight, you know,
Yeah,
higher seeded chalk. What do you think?
yeah. I think To Kill a Mockingbird for sure. I would be surprised if Little Women didn't take over. At,
Yeah,
yeah, especially with the movie being out this year, and then it's just gonna. I mean, it just seems like
the
that would
recency
be
bias.
a resurgence of
Yeah.
new readers and people that said, "Oh, I didn't get to read that as a kid." And then The Hobbit. Sorry, C.S. Lewis. I see The Hobbit taking that one,
How
and
dare
then
you?
Pride and Prejudice. Also, I have not read Jane Eyre, so but I do love Pride and Prejudice. So I'm going with that one.
I'm a big Pride and Prejudice fan. It's
Oh
weird
yeah,
I read it in high school as like a 15 or 16-year-old boy. Like surprisingly just really loved that book even though
that
it
was your jam.
was weird. But yeah. Well, it spoke to me in some sort of special way. I'd like to read it again, see how I feel now.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, no, so you know, it's up there for me. I expect it to do well in
Yeah.
the tournament. Let's check out what happened in the Phenoms bracket. So we had Harry Potter, the 1 seed, the Juggernaut, taking down Lovely Bones. And then a very close matchup, Book Thief beat The Help. We had an upset here with the Da Vinci Code taking down Fault in Our Stars. Handmaid's Tale. Then another sad one for me, Ender's Game.
Yeah, because you really like Gone Girl, don't you?
I do, and I love Ender's Game too. We can get into that in a little bit. And then Game of Thrones, the Twilight voters not showing up for their. I was going to say their boy. Is Twilight a boy or a girl or something else? I don't know. Their
Yeah.
Twilight, yeah, Game of Thrones beat Twilight by quite a lot, if I remember. And then Time Traveler's Wife beating another hot title. About Take That However You Want in 50 Shades of Grey. And then Hunger Games. So this is how it looks.
All
Yeah.
right. So, and you said, what did you say was really close? The
Book Thief and The Help.
Book Thief and the Help. Okay.
Yeah, that was a close one. It came down to, I think, just a few votes. It might have been even one vote. So,
Okay. Okay.
really,
Yeah,
really
I've
tight
read The
race.
Help, but I have not read The Book Thief, and I do love The Help. But I'm a sucker for historic fiction, so
Yeah,
um,
and actually, I have seen The Help, but have not read it yet, so I couldn't, vote intelligently on that match.
well, I haven't seen the movie, so I'll
Oh,
watch the
well,
movie
let's
and read
trade,
The
and
Help. Yeah.
then we can compare.
Yeah. Any other surprises or anything taken by a landslide or
So let's see. I
Da
think,
Vinci Code? You said Da Vinci Code?
yeah, Fault in Our Stars didn't get that many votes, which was kind of surprising. I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bubble with John Green. Like I love all of John Green's books. And
I've only read one of his,
which one?
Looking for Alaska.
Oh, that's the first one I read too. That's a good one to start
Yeah.
with. Yeah, that one. This one was good. An Abundance of Catherines, which if you're into like nerds and math and road trips, finds all
Like what
those
trick?
things. Road trips and
Oh, road trips.
road
Okay.
trips. Yeah, not like
Yeah.
that movie. Not like that movie, Road Trip, that starred Tom Green and Breckin Meyer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's.
But no, just a regular old road trip.
I like nerds and road trips, but I'm kind of
There you
out
go.
on the math thing.
Out
So,
on the math. Okay, well
yeah.
they make it
Is it
kind of
math
fun.
heavy?
They make it kind of fun math. It's not like
Oh, okay.
I
All right.
understand math. I'm sure it would help, but I don't understand it to any sort of serious degree. But yeah, I still thought it was good. The only John Green book I didn't really like was Paper Towns, and it
Okay.
wasn't bad. It just didn't do it for me like the other ones did. But this one, it was a hugely popular book. The movie
And movie?
did pretty well,
Yeah.
but yeah, it didn't get a lot of votes. The Da Vinci Code people were out
Really?
voting for it.
Maybe, I mean, do you think The Fault in Our Stars was just too much of a YA book that not enough of our voters have
Maybe,
read it?
maybe could have been, and it was more like it wasn't like super recent. I feel like this book is like what, maybe almost 10 years old at this point.
Okay. Okay.
But maybe that's recent enough that not as many people had read it. Like it's not old enough to be like a beloved childhood book you might have read. Nothing like Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe or anything like that.
Right. Right.
Maybe it just hasn't had a lot of readers, and maybe that's why Twilight didn't do so well as well. Though we'll contradict that in a second when we get over to the Hunger Games. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'll just say real fast that Handmaid's Tale, I've read it. Like it. It's kind of weird saying you like a book like that that's so like depressing and horrible in a lot of ways, but
Mhm.
undoubtedly a quality, important book. But I just really love the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, so I was kind of sad we had to say goodbye to that one. I kind of figured that.
Right.
Where
Right.
the big surprises happened I mean, not really surprises either. But you know how much I love Gone Girl. I feel like I'm always talking about Gone Girl. I know people in our book club would tell you that it's like gets mentioned at least once per meeting somehow. It's like it's planned and we shoehorn it in there. I swear we don't. I love it.
Sure.
But Ender's Game is so good too. I can't get really mad about this because Ender's Game is amazing.
Right.
Deserves to win. But yeah, that's an older. Well, I guess that's the thing. It's YA, but it's like an older YA book that people
Right.
conceivably
Yeah.
read when they were younger. And then Twilight. Twilight. You know how big Twilight was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It
Did
was
you read it?
no, no,
No, no, no.
no. And I've watched Game of Thrones, the
Yeah.
HBO series, but I have not read the book yet. But I'm not sad to see it win over Twilight. And maybe that's gonna upset people.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with those Twilight stands because they will.
Yeah, they'll come after you.
Yeah, they will. They will. I tell you, I think the first time we did fandom trivia, the someone asked like early on if there were going to be any Twilight questions,
Oh,
and honestly, like it hadn't even crossed my mind to include any Twilight questions. And
and
so
you
I think
told me that
if I
today.
remember correctly, I kind of did. At first, I was like, "Well, we'll see what happens." Then I quickly amended that to like, "No, sorry, there aren't going to be any
No,
questions."
don't hold your breath.
Nothing against Twilight. I read the first one. Like, I didn't hate it. Uh, I wasn't like enthralled, enough with it to read the rest of them.
Yeah, and I just in general, I'm not a vampire uh, kind of girl. I would rather have zombies.
Okay, or
Um,
was you more like a World War Z person?
Yeah, yeah. So I just was never even interested in reading Twilight, but maybe I'm missing out. Maybe it's
Maybe,
something I don't even know, you know?
yeah. I love what you're doing right there. Yeah, maybe give it a try. But yeah, Game of Thrones. I was kind of surprised. Like, it's a super long book, and they just get longer as the series goes on. I've read
Right,
all of them. Like, I got into the show first, then had to go back and read the books. Like, they're good, but they're long, and some would say like in need of a good editing and to trim out some stuff and some of those long meandering descriptions of things
right.
and just the hundreds, seemingly thousands of characters that are in there. But it's highly enjoyable, and I think I guess I was just more surprised that more people had read it, and which sounds stupid to say because it's like a cultural phenomenon. But I figured we had a ton of people that had watched the show but hadn't read it.
Right,
If they have, or it could have been just people like the Twilight haters just voting against Twilight. Um,
right,
we can't discount the possibility of that in any of these matchups.
right. Especially with all the series and movies and
Yeah, you don't have to
everything.
prove that you've read anything. Like, you don't have to be qualified to vote. You can just pick. So you can,
Yeah,
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 anything but Twilight, which I hope people didn't do. I hope we didn't have the results skewed by Twilight haters, but
right. You never know.
there is a possibility. And then 50 Shades losing. I think it got like 2 votes total. Uh,
Wow.
Time Traveler's Wife took all the other votes.
Well, I mean, yeah, that may just be I've read The Time Traveler's Wife. I haven't read 50 Shades. I'm thinking maybe it's just, better content. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that's, that's
I don't know.
a diplomatic way of
Yeah.
talking about that. My theory was that because this wasn't an anonymous poll and you had to like your name, everyone,
Oh.
then people would
We
see
didn't want
you
to have
like,
that many people admitting to reading.
yeah, people would see you publicly endorsing 50 Shades of Grey, and
Yeah.
maybe people weren't ready for that.
No, yeah, they're just
I
not.
don't know. It's one possibility, but I just remember uh,
Uh,
like,
and of course, Hunger Games would take Eat, Pray, Love.
yeah, the Eat Pray Love didn't really stand a chance there.
Yeah.
But, Hunger Games, a YA novel, but
Yeah.
I guess it was like even more like Fault in Our Stars was popular, but Hunger Games was maybe not quite Game of Thrones level, but it was more in that stratosphere where it was just
Yeah.
hugely, insanely, immensely popular. And you got, not just kids, but a bunch of adults reading it too, just to see what all the hubbub was about.
Yeah, I had to this week actually.
You had
Uh,
to?
yes, I was like, okay, I missed out on. I saw the movie when it came out, but I missed out on the book. So this week, inspired by this bracket, I went back and read The Hunger Games this week.
Yeah.
It's really good. So
Yeah, no, it pulls you in, and you have to. It's a page turner.
yeah,
As far as like, I mean, I don't know. I know that there were dystopian YA books before it, but it was one of the ones that kind of kicked off the craze, if not the one that kicked off the craze of having the, the dystopian world where there's some like weird, like oppressive society with some weird set of rules, and then kids either, in life and death situations or trying to overthrow the oppressive government.
the man,
That sort of, yeah, the man is a better way of saying.
if you will.
Yeah, so it was one of the ones that kicked all that off, and now they're. I think I don't know. I don't have my finger on the pulse of YA like maybe I did at one point. So I think maybe those are cooling down. We don't have as much of that anymore. But for
Yeah,
there were just so many. But yeah, Hunger Games was kind of in on the ground floor, and it's
yeah.
like there's no denying it. I've never actually read Eat, Pray, Love, so I couldn't say. Um,
I know it was really popular. It was, I think, was it on like Oprah's book list or
that sounds right. Yeah,
something like that?
yeah.
Yeah. Now, any predictions for this next round?
So I'll just say I'm just gonna pick Harry Potter to take down the. I love the Book Thief too. Like that is a fantastic book. I recommend it to anybody that hasn't read it. But Harry Potter is
Oh,
so
right.
so strong and has so many fans. Like I feel like it's gonna move on. Even if Sorcerer's Stone isn't regarded as one of the better books in that series, I still feel like it's gonna have enough juice to move
Yeah.
on. I'll say Handmaid's Tale over Da Vinci Code. I'll say
Especially with the series, right?
yeah,
Series backing that up.
yeah. I
A
think
whole
mhm.
following.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people that have watched it. I think Ender's Game over Game of Thrones. And
Really?
I do. Yeah, I really do. Like,
Really?
yeah, I think.
I could be wrong, but I think Game of Thrones is gonna take it.
All right, we'll have to wager on this. What should we?
Yeah.
Well, let's do that off camera. We shouldn't be seen publicly. Gambling on
Betting.
things. Gambling is illegal and bad. Don't do it. Talk to me later. Uh, yeah, we'll.
Hey, we could play with toilet paper. Like I'll raise you 2 rolls.
Oh man, you just made it really serious really fast. I was just gonna wager stupid money, but you're talking about
Or like chocolate. I mean,
again very serious for me. We'll figure something out.
okay.
I think it might be close, but we'll see. We'll read
Yeah.
this in our next recap and see who owes who.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll say Hunger Games over Time Traveler's Wife. Look at I'm so boring. I picked all of the higher seeds again.
I think you're right on the Hunger Games. I think it just reached more people. I think the
Yeah,
Time Traveler's Wife has a completely different demographic. So
I think that's right. And it's all going to depend on who's voting, but such name cachet. I think it's gonna
yeah.
counts for a lot in a popularity contest. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
we will see. We will see. Let's see. Next was the recent hotness bracket. These were books that were have come out in the past 9, 10. We were kind of loose with the definition of recent. Some of them are super recent. Before we were yours, a 1 seed lost to our 16 seed. Eleanor Oliphant is complete. Kind of a shocker. We'll get into that in a minute. The Hate You Give, narrowly taking down Ted. Mega popular book Where the Crawdads Sing, beating Girl on the Train. And then we had a man called Uwe, that is how you say it, I believe, taken down.
Really.
Yeah. And then a couple of historical fiction books, The Nightingale, being currently popular Little Fires Everywhere TV show on now. And then All the Light We Cannot See beating Crazy Rich Asians, another recently popular book. Martian, a little older. Goldfinch also a little older, but The Martian took that one down. And then Wonder, a 15 seed, beaten up on A Gentleman in Moscow. That poor old gentleman shuffle his way out of the tournament. And this is how the bracket looks right now.
All right. So, have you read Before We Were Yours?
I have. Yeah, we did that for book club
Okay.
sort of recently, I guess like last year sometime.
Right.
Good. Like it was.
Surprised about that?
Did what?
Were you surprised about that losing?
Kind of, yeah, because it was kind of like before where the crawdad saying was like the hottest thing since sliced bread. I was trying to think of anything else that's hot, but that's literally all I have is that
Yeah.
old cliche. Yeah, it was kind of like the hot book. Like it was on the bestseller list for weeks and months and maybe even years, if I remember correctly. And everybody wanted to read it. Library holds lists for it were crazy long. You just couldn't get a hold of it. And thought for sure that it was gonna win its first round matchup, kind of convincingly, because I wasn't sure if a lot of people had read Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine.
Well, that's fairly new, right?
It is. It's within the last few years, and we did that one for book club too. And that is a really great book. Like I love that book. If I had to pick one over the other, like that would have been my choice, but that would not have been my prediction for how that
Okay.
matchup would have shaken out.
Yeah. And
Shocker, yeah, 16. And then I know you're a big college basketball fan, so I don't have to tell you this, but 16 seeds beating 1 seeds doesn't happen. Like
unheard of.
I don't know if it's ever actually happened.
Would you use that Cinderella?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. This is like textbook Cinderella story. So Eleanor Oliphant is now our tournament's Cinderella.
Our Cinderella.
And we'll see how long she can keep
I'm so excited you get to use that term.
I know. We've got a few of them here again because some dumb selection committee did the seeding on these and maybe got it way wrong.
Yeah, we gotta talk to them.
I know they really blew it.
Now, The Hate You Give, is that YA also?
That is YA, and I haven't read that one yet. I do want to read that one. It's been on my list, but I don't read YA stuff as much as I used to, so it has to be like a fairly popular book that like stays in the public consciousness for a while. The way I just keep getting reminded of it.
Right.
But I haven't done it yet. But I know that people whose opinion I respect like that book a lot. And so
yeah.
Need to get
So there's got to be something going on there.
Yeah.
And you just did Where the Crawdads Sing in book club, right?
We did, yeah. And I think, like I told book club, like I kind of had that thing where something's really popular and everybody is talking about it, and to the point where it kind of makes you automatically rebel and not want to be into it. You're like, oh, that's gonna be stupid. I'm not gonna read. kind of like right now, like to make a TV comparison with Tiger King. Everybody's talking about Tiger King.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is just. I haven't watched it, but my husband has, and
okay.
And he.
Are you gonna?
It's a train wreck. From what I hear and little clips that he's shown me, I don't know that I can tolerate that. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe if I get bored enough here in quarantine.
Yeah, that boredom will make you do a lot of strange things. So you can't really rule anything out. But I don't know. So I kind of had that attitude going in and started reading it, and I very quickly got over that. It's like, all right, this is actually good. And then I like tore through it in a day and a half. And only partially because I had to finish it to discuss it at the book club meeting. But it was mostly just because it genuinely was, compelling, and I had to know what happened. And I take back all of my negative thing. I never said anything bad about it. I'll take back all the bad things I thought about it before I read it.
Right.
A little baseless.
Because
I was resisting the hype machine.
Yes.
That one winning wasn't really that surprising. Girl on the Train, like I'll be honest, I wasn't a big Girl on the Train fan. I'm glad that it lost. I know it probably has fans out there, but it was one of those books that they sold to you. I say they, but publishers of this thing where they've like, ooh, this one is the next Gone Girl, or
Right. They
a,
compare it to
a
something.
thriller comparable to Gone Girl, and that happened a lot after Gone Girl came out and was hugely successful. And so, Girl on the Train was like one of the it was like the heir apparent, and it was going to be the next Gone Girl, and it just wasn't. And yeah, I'm glad you're gone, Girl on the Train. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. And this
Surprises.
Ove you keep talking about here.
Yeah, no, I love that book. I love everything Frederick Backman has written. I think I've read. There might have been a couple little short novellas that I haven't read of his, but all his other books are great. And so I wasn't really surprised by that.
Did you read Me Before You?
No, haven't read any of JoJo's books, so I can't say anything good or bad about that book or her books.
Yeah. All right. All right. Are you watching the series Little Fires Everywhere? I think it's on Hulu or Netflix. I'm
I
not sure.
haven't. I think it's a Hulu thing.
Okay.
Is it Hulu? Is it HBO? It's so hard
It's
to.
a Reese Witherspoon thing, I
It
know.
is. Yeah, she's everywhere,
Yeah.
and she has that book club, the Reese's Book Club. I keep seeing that Reese's
Yes.
sticker on everything.
Yeah.
So she's the new Oprah when it comes to that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
I guess we needed an Oprah.
We did. Yeah. Well, we got it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
no, I haven't watched it. I was kind of surprised that it lost. Well, I guess I'm not surprised it lost. I'm surprised it wasn't closer. I haven't read Nightingale either, but I've heard that that's really good. I've only read one other Kristen Hanna book. I think it was. Wait, have I? No, I'm mixing her up with Alice Hoffman.
okay.
No, but I know that Nightingale. Like, a lot of people love that book, so I'm not surprised.
That's historic fiction, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like World War II
Okay.
period. Same thing with All the Light We Cannot See, which I did read and which is fantastic. We did that for book club at one point. It's great. I was rooting for it. I was going to be really bummed out if it lost. Nothing against Crazy Rich Asians.
Right.
And then The Martian. Really like The Martian. The movie was pretty good. Matt Damon in space.
Isn't there a movie for the Goldfinch also?
There is a fairly recent one. I haven't seen it, and I haven't read that one. Again, with my defense being, it just looks kind of long. I don't.
Oh.
It's kind of long. I don't know. We'll get there eventually. And then another. This one kind of surprised me. Wonder, Beating a Gentleman in Moscow. And I'll admit I haven't read Wonder. I know that's it's a kid's book, right? And I'm not trying to
It
be
is.
dismissive or like use that as a derogatory term, but it's
Right, right. No, it is.
written for children.
But it's been really popular, especially with the movie and I haven't seen the movie and I haven't read the book, so I can't really speak to that.
We're just totally unqualified to talk about this book, but
Yeah,
apparently it's got some fans.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've read
And
a lot less of the recent stuff, so I feel like I can't talk about as much of it as
yeah.
the classics. So, um, but yeah, I guess I gotta pick some of these and start
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah. I feel like I got to read Wonder now. I love Gentleman in Moscow. That was another one we did for book club.
Okay, okay,
It was one that I thought was going to be super boring because you read the description. It was about this Russian count who lives in a hotel.
right.
I was like, oh yeah, that
Not super thrilling.
does it doesn't really scream page turner. The main character was so charming, and the book was so well written, and there was like all these touching relationships and moments, and it was great. And maybe that was my own personal bias making it a 2 seed, but yeah, I totally didn't expect it to lose to Wonder. So,
Yeah. All right.
but yeah, I've been wrong before, very recently in this tournament. Surprised by that.
Well, I think out of all of these, moving on, I think I'm gonna have to read Where the Crawdads Sing next.
Yeah, I would do that, and read a man called Ove,
Okay.
and then just anything Frederick Backman wrote.
Okay.
Really, these are all I can't speak to all of them, but a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah.
Can't really go too wrong. And then I guess real quick, just predictions for how
Oh yeah.
the matchups will go.
Yeah, what do you see happening?
Hey, I'm gonna say
Eleanor, right?
Eleanor's gonna upset Hate You Give. I could be totally wrong about that. I'll say, oh, this one's tough. I'll pick Where the Crawdads Sing just because it's so like new and recently hot.
Mhm. Super hot.
And so yeah, look at me. That's technically an upset. Oh, I picked an upset in the first one too, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to pick the Nightingale to beat All the Light We Cannot See,
Okay.
and I'm going to pick. It's so tough because I don't know anything about Wonder, but I'm going to say that Wonder is going to beat The Martian.
Yep.
So I picked straight upsets in this.
Again, I think Wonder might have reached more people.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's
The
a.
audience was just wider.
Yeah, do you have any disagreements with those predictions?
No, and really, I mean, uh, yeah, I think that's probably what I would have chosen also.
Okay, all right, then we're in agreement. No wagers to be had this time.
No, no.
We'll skip to our last bracket. It's called Reedy Goodness.
Really goodness.
Yeah, Ready Player One, but which was just coincidence. It was in the Reedy bracket. And Hitchhiker's Guide, Water for Elephants, beating Curious Incident, and then Tuesdays with Maury, taking down Bridget Jones. We had the Guernsey longest title in the world, beating Shanghai Girls, and Summer Sisters by old Judy Blume, beating The Art of Racing in the Rain. And then our most recent matchup, The Stand, woo, The Stand, beats Coraline, aw. And then Life of Pi beating the Ya Sisterhood.
All right. Yeah. So, did we have any close calls on this one?
Let's see, the closest ones. I think Water for Elephants and Curious Incident of Dog in the Nighttime were very close.
Yeah, I saw in the comments somebody said the Curious Incident got wronged,
It's
and
robbed. It got robbed. I tells you.
yeah,
And yeah, maybe that it is. I've read both of those books. I would pick Curious Incident over Water for Elephants.
okay.
I think Water for Elephants, Water for Elephants was fine. Like, it was okay.
It was an Oprah book too, I think.
Probably that seems fitting. And the
Yeah.
Curious Incident is just it's a more unique story. The main character is an autistic boy, and so it's just kind of unlike. It's an unusual reading experience, and it gives you insight into um, autism, like seeing things from that perspective, which is cool and you know a a great thing to put out in the world and have people read. And I think it was a popular book. Like I think it did.
Yeah, I actually have it on my shelf waiting to read.
Yeah, no, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So that was a really close matchup. The Art of Racing in the Rain and Summer Sisters actually tied, which is the only tie we had.
Oh yeah.
And so we ended up using a random number generator, which was the fairest way that we could think to do it. Just pick a
That, like you putting strips of paper in a hat and picking
no.
one.
Yeah, that I'm not that old fashioned. But no, I just use a computer. I use this website called random.org, which I use for
Okay.
all of my random number needs. I use random.org.
So many.
Which I have surprisingly a lot of them. I don't know how.
Me too. Yeah.
That broke the tie. So that's as close as you can possibly get. And then
Okay.
recent ones, The Stand and Coraline was pretty close. Life of Pi and Yaya also fairly close. I think each of them ended up winning though by like 3 or 4 votes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, whole lot of not a whole lot of blowouts, I don't think, except for player one. I think that was a big blowout. Yeah.
Okay. With
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Rainwater. Not. I wondered how many people have read Rainwater. It's such a great book. That's
I have
one
not.
I've read. I've read Rainwater and The Secret Life of Bees, and I haven't read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I was a little bummed just because I know, The Secret Life of Bees is such a great book. I haven't seen the movie. And Rainwater is, they don't say that the little boy in that story has autism, but It's just, I think because the term wasn't there yet. Um, if I remember correctly, it was set in the 30s. So, but it was really a great read, and completely different from Sandra Brown's other stuff.
Okay.
Like, I haven't read any other Sandra Brown books, but that one was really good.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read any of hers, so I don't know. But based on your review there, maybe I should.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Any other surprises here for you?
Surprises here? No, I don't. Well, no, not really. I haven't. I thought Art of Racing in the Rain would have done better. It was fairly popular for a while, and there was a movie, right?
Yeah, and is how recent is that book? I know the movie is recent.
Not too recent. I don't. I would just be making up a number, but I think it's within the last
Like 10 years.
10 years. I don't.
Well, and Summer Sisters is older. I was glad to get a Judy Blume book in there, just because
Why
I
didn't we
love.
do? We should have just done Super Fudge.
Yeah, that's it. It would have been the winner.
Yeah, Super. That would have been unfair. Super Fudge would have won the whole tournament.
Yeah, yeah, we couldn't do that. Um, but I've read both of those books, The Art of Racing in the Rain and Summer Sisters, and I was really glad that Summer Sisters won.
So that would have been your pick.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll just put out there that we are both abstaining from voting on these things. We don't.
Yeah, no, I didn't vote on
the
any
results.
Of them.
Yeah,
I just watched the comments a lot, and just to see if anybody had, super hot opinions on anything.
Yeah, sometimes people do. Sometimes people get really emphatic.
Yeah, I kind of wanted that.
Yeah, and we like that. For anybody who's watching this, yeah, get into it. Yeah, speak up about your favorites. Use all caps and exclamation points. And
yes,
take some
definitely.
shots at the other books if you want to. You don't have to do that.
Right?
This doesn't have to be about tearing other books down, but it can be.
Yeah, sure.
Fun for you, yeah.
I mean, it's to the death.
Tear it up, like we'll just say it again. Girl on the Train sucks. Like
salt the earth.
Sorry, it's not even in where we've moved on past that, but I just want to throw that in there. Again.
One last stab in.
Yeah.
Now you're a Stephen King fan.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were happy The Stand took over Coraline, but you like Neil Gaiman too, right? Is it Gaiman?
I do. I like both of those books, but The Stand is just The Stand.
But it's really long.
It is. I know. I'm breaking my own rule. I break that rule for.
How did you make it?
For Stephen King, I break that rule. For Game of Thrones, that whole series, I broke that rule, and then some other things. But yeah, Stephen King doesn't matter. It can, it can be a gigantic 1,200, 1,300 page book like The Stand or It, or some of those other ones, and I don't care. Like,
you just do it anyway.
The Stand is so long, but it's. And a lot of it's like slow developing and like developing these characters and getting to know them. But he just, I don't know. I can't speak positively enough about Stephen King as a storyteller and the way that he develops his characters and makes us care about them, whether we're meant to hate them or love them. He's a master when it comes to that, and his stories and his like building of tension is so good. People give him grief for his endings not being great, and like The Stand is that's a fair criticism of The Stand. Is the
really?
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it for you or anyone.
Okay.
If you're planning on reading a 1,300 page book,
probably not. And if I do, it might be Gone with the Wind instead.
Okay, fair enough. But hey, The Stand is about.
Is it scary? Because I don't do scary.
It's not horror. It's not like scary in the way that The Shining is scary, or like Cujo or Misery or Pet Sematary or any of those classics are scary.
All that nightmare.
It is about, it's about, it's very timely. It's about a virus like wiping out huge chunks of the population.
Oh yeah.
People dealing with this kind of post-apocalyptic society. So it's fitting. It'd be a good time to read it, I guess, but maybe that would
or maybe not a good time.
Maybe not a good time. Touche. But I recently A book by Stephen King's son called Joe Hill, The Fireman, which is also about a pandemic. And I knew that I read the description. I was like, huh. And I did it anyway. I was like, yeah, well, it made
Let's do this.
me appreciate this book more. And I think it
Well,
did.
maybe you can get some tips, on how to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah. So, but maybe, yeah, maybe wait and read The Stand when it's a little less real than it would normally.
Right. Too
But yeah,
close to home.
I was psyched for The Stand. It was hard to not put more Stephen King in this tournament overall.
Right.
We really maybe one day.
Now, have you read Coraline?
I have, yeah, and I like Coraline
Okay.
a lot too. Like I
Yeah,
really,
it's just a whole different, it's apples and oranges, really.
yeah, yeah, and
I'm
it's
sure.
technically a children's book, but Neil Gaiman, he's a fantastic writer and storyteller as well. And so
Yeah.
I think if Coraline had gotten a different first round matchup, it might have won. But I think it
Yeah.
has a lot of fans out there. I think a lot of people that, well, maybe not a lot, but definitely it's people that don't necessarily read Stephen King otherwise, I think also like The Stand.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
So
That's uh, one of our favorite movies here in this house.
The Stand?
Coraline.
Oh,
Coraline.
okay.
Yeah. My daughter loves that book and the movie. She's watched it so many times. The movie I think is pretty scary as far as like kids movies
Well,
go.
because then you have to like see the weird parents with the button
Yeah.
eyes and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
the button eyes are super creepy.
Mhm.
So, um I think that's nightmare fuel for a different, you know, age group.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if I guess I should, but yeah, I really did like the book. So I was sad to see it lose.
Yeah.
But
Now,
yeah,
Life of Pi, have you read that? I have not.
I haven't either. I had a friend who read it in high school and was like really recommending it then, but I
I
never.
didn't know it had been out that long.
Yeah.
Okay. But the
So
movie is more recent, right?
the movie is more recent. I think within
Okay.
the last, what, 10 years, 8 years, 7 years.
Really?
Recent than that, I don't know. Time's weird.
Time flies.
Yeah. So I haven't read it, but I know that a lot of people have and uh, you know vouch for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I've
I
read
wasn't
the Yaya
surprised.
Sisterhood, but I have not read Life of Pi.
Yeah. Were you upset to see Yaya lose?
I mean a little bit, but it's more fun. I'm sure Life of Pi has more depth to it. I think Yaya Sisterhood is probably just a lighter read, and so I can see Life of Pi taking that.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So, any predictions for our next round here? Let's hear.
So, this will be tough because Hitchhiker's Guide has a lot of fans, and
Yeah.
I'm just a little ashamed to admit I haven't read it yet, but I think that's what I'm going to read next. Like, I think I'm going
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
to
haven't read it either.
as my next book. So, uh,
And Ready Player One has a
a lot of
huge.
people like that. I like that book a lot. I am going to predict. I'll take the upset. I'm going to take Hitchhiker's Guide to beat Ready Player One,
Okay.
and then I'll take.
Have you read Tuesdays with Maury?
I have a long time ago, and it was sweet. It's fine. I don't have like strong feelings about it, but
Okay.
I'm going to pick it to beat Water for Elephants. I'll pick Guernsey to beat Summer Sisters. And then it's going to be tough for me to be rational and objective in this one. But I'm
Right.
going to pick The Stand, even though, like, if I'm being honest with myself, I think Life of Pi is going to beat it. But
Okay.
make The Stand my official prediction.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. I'm gonna say just because of Hitchhiker's Guide being around longer
Mm.
and reaching more people, and just guessing on our voting demographic, I'm going to say Hitchhiker's Guide. And as far as Water for Elephants or Tuesdays with Maury, I think Tuesdays with Maury is, probably going to take it. It's sweet. It's been around for a long time. Um, and I hope Summer Sisters maybe has a little bit of an edge. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I have not read the Potato Peel Society, so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and The Stand. I'm gonna say The Stand just
All
because there's
right.
so many passionate Stephen King fans out there.
I hope so. I really
Yeah,
hope so. So we
we will see.
we'll talk about wagers off camera and see what we can
Yeah,
keep going.
Easter candy wagers,
Ooh,
possibly.
yeah. Yeah. I have to get some first.
Yeah,
Uh,
you gotta find some Reese's eggs somewhere,
oh,
or the Cadbury egg.
yeah, and though as we talked about before, they're different now. They're not as good.
Oh, they are.
They changed the secret formula.
Well, you just move over to the caramel egg instead of the traditional.
I do like caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to find some Easter candy so that we can make egg wafers. Those are all our recap brackets. So now we invite you to fill out your own bracket. What does that mean? Well, during regular March Madness, part of the fun is filling out the bracket with your predictions of who you think's going to win. And so we want to bring the fun of that over to our little tournament. And so what we have, we'll post it in the video or the description of this video or both, a link to a survey. And basically it's you just fill it out with who you think's going to win. Now don't fill it out with your votes. Don't, pick who you want to win for this particular thing. Pick who you think will win the vote. Who are the people going to pick? Your goal here is to be accurate, not to put your choices out there. So you fill out the form. It's an online form. You just fill it out, click submit, and then we'll hold on to all those and we'll determine who our most accurate predictors were. And I think we might even have some prizes for you if you are one of those people. We got a spot in a cookie class up for grabs and possibly some other prizes, but we'll have more details about the prizes later. But yeah, fill out the bracket. We'll have the link in the comments and the description of the video. You just click it, fill it out, click submit. You don't have to print anything or write anything with a pen, God forbid. It's all digital. So fill it out, send it back, and yeah, it'll make the tournament a little more spicy for you. I think you'll have a little bit more invested in it. But again,
Yeah.
those aren't your votes, so remember to vote every day. Which round 2 of the tournament is going to start tomorrow, which is Sunday, April 12th. We'll kick off things in the Ye Olde Classics bracket with our first set of matchups. So vote like you've been doing. You've all been doing a great job of voting, so keep that up. And vote nightly on Facebook. We'll post a new set of matchups every day, except for today when we took a break to post this stupid video. So you've enjoyed, if anyone's made it this far, which I don't know if anyone's made it
Right.
to this point, unless you skip to the end. But
Maybe they're bored enough to watch
if you're that bored and you want to watch people talk about a book popularity contest, bless you and thank you. So yeah, we're taking a break today, but the tournament will be back tomorrow night. And keep voting. I hope it's been fun for you, and we'll check back in with another recap after the end of round 2. Yeah, Sarah, any closing thoughts?
That's it. It's going to be a nail biter.
A real
Yeah.
is that one of those sports terms that you looked
Yes.
up?
I'm practicing sports terms, okay?
You're a regular
All
sports
gonna,
sports head.
I am.
Well, sports heads, book heads, enjoy the rest of the tournament, and we will see you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. How do I stop recording?